What's up, everybody? This is What is Sports? I'm your host, Tyler Dietz. With me is JP Cochran. What's up, JP?
Nothing. I'm James Paul Cochran, and I'm ready to talk about sports.
Now, Nick isn't here right now. Nick will be joining us later. Today, we're going to be recapping the Notre Dame and Georgia college football game that was on this past Saturday. And we're also going to be talking about the 2019 MLB season in review. Y'all going to kind of give me a summary of what I missed, because I didn't keep up with baseball very well this season.
Golly, man, I can't believe you.
It's very un-American of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But if you like what you hear this episode, give us a like on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at WhatIsSports1 with no question mark. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or Google Play. And leave us a rating and review if you enjoy the show. Also, check out our sister show, What is Nerd? And finally, if you have any questions or comments, send us an email at wisportscast@gmail.com. All right, so I got some news. WNBA playoffs are going on. Have you gotten to watch any, JP?
No, I've not watched any yet. What days are the games?
Well, okay, so pretty much what you've missed since last week. The Connecticut Suns were in a series against the LA Sparks. So this is the semifinal, so it's best of 5. The Suns beat the Sparks 3-0. Game 1 was on Tuesday last week. Game 2 was on Thursday, I believe, and Game 3 was yesterday or on Sunday. So this wasn't really a close series. You actually didn't miss much with this. But the other series that's happening is the Washington Mystics versus the Las Vegas Aces. And this one's actually proving to be a bit more interesting. So again, with this one, Game 1 was Tuesday of last week. Mystics won, but it was a pretty close game. It was 97-95. Game 2 was another Mystics victory. It was 103-91, and again, that was Thursday of last week. And then Game 3, the Aces won, 92-75. So that's a nice, solid victory. And again, that was on Sunday. So far, the WNBA playoffs have been very predictable. There really haven't been any surprises. There have been a few close games, but nothing too crazy. All right, next up we got motorsports. We talked about NASCAR last week, right?
Yes. NASCAR and their big old cars and bunch of laps and ruckus fans, bunch of drinking Budweiser while taking the wheel. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
We don't condone that as a podcast.
So the NASCAR Federated Auto Parts 400 at Richmond was this past Saturday. Now this is the only NASCAR playoffs race that is on a Saturday. Most of them are on Sundays. So the finishers, okay, we had Martin Truex got first, Kyle Busch second, Kenny Hamlin got third, Brad Keselowski got fourth, and Ryan Newman got fifth. Now all these guys are already part of the top 5 overall for the season already, except for Ryan Newman. So basically what this means, though, so Martin Truex, he's the leader in the standings right now, and so he just increased his win margin by a few points with that win. So right now for the standings, we have Martin Truex with 21-41 points. That's 6 wins. Kevin Harvick with 21-20 points. That's 3 wins. Now it's a relatively close match between the two. Kevin Harvick can still overtake Martin Truex overall. You got Kyle Busch right behind Harvick at 21-17 points. Brad Keselowski, right behind that at 21-06, and then Denny Hamlin with 21-05. So, I mean, we still got, this was race 2 of 10 for the playoffs, so we still got plenty of races to go in the NASCAR playoffs.
Did you watch the race?
Yeah, I couldn't watch this Saturday since my weekend was pretty busy, but the next race is the Bank of America Roval at Charlotte, which is this coming Sunday, the 28th.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna try to catch that one. I am starting to recognize the names a bit better.
Yeah.
And usually my policy is if I don't know much, I'll usually just root for the underdog. And so I'll probably be rooting for this second place guy, Kevin Harvick, to overtake Martin Truex Jr.
Right.
He's about 20 points behind him. That means he's got to beat him 3 times in order to. Sorry, 3 times in order to make up the difference.
Okay.
Now, we also got Formula One, which happened this past Sunday, the Singapore Grand Prix. Placings for this, we got Sebastian Vettel got first place. This was Vettel's first win in the season, which was surprising to me because I've talked about Vettel quite a bit. He's usually pretty much always in the top 5, but this is his first race win. Charles Leclerc got second, Max Verstappen got third, Lewis Hamilton fourth, and Valtteri Bottas got fifth. So right now, overall for the standings, Lewis Hamilton is still way in first place. He's got 296 points, whereas Valtteri Bottas has 231 points. But again, he's kind of Hamilton's wingman, so to speak. It means that their team is just dominating big time. Charles Leclerc is in third place with 200 points. He's tied, actually, with Max Verstappen, who also has 200 points. They're tied for third and fourth place. And then Sebastian Vettel has 194 points. So the next race is going to be the Russian Grand Prix.
Oh, really?
Yes, the Russian Grand Prix.
So that's where they drink the vodka behind the wheel.
Yes, which we don't condone. Sunday, October 13th, that's when that is. It's going to be on ESPN2. Check it out, y'all.
Sunday.
Racing. And last but certainly not least, we have IndyCar. That was this past Sunday, the 22nd. Now, this was the final race of the IndyCar season. That means IndyCar is over for 2019. Now, this was the Grand Prix of Monterey, and the winner was this guy named Colton Herta, who I wasn't familiar with, but this is his second win of the season. I think he's like 9th place overall, so he's not like a top qualifier. The big thing that matters, though, is that this is the end of the IndyCar season. That means that we have a champion, and that is Joseph Newgarden, who pretty much led the entire series. He crushed the competition. He ended the series with 641 points, whereas the second place racer, Simon Pagenaud, had 616 points. Third place, Alexander Rossi, had 608. Fourth place, Scott Dixon, had 578. And then fifth place, Will Power, had 550. So, I mean, that really wasn't much of a surprise. Newgarden, I mean, he was clearly the leader for pretty much most of the season, but this is his second IndyCar season title in 3 years. The dude's 28 years old, I think, so he's younger than us.
Yeah, that's depressing. But yeah, like all professional athletes are like under or in their 20s. So.
I remember like I started feeling like I was old whenever I started noticing that.
Yeah.
All like musicians and like athletes, like they're all younger than us.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're old.
Well, at least you're in your 20s. I say still in your 20s because I just turned 30, which is really depressing. But I mean, one day when I'm, if I ever make it to my 70s or 80s, I'll be like, man, if I could ever be 30 again, So it's all relative.
I always complain about getting old to my coworkers and stuff. And most of them are in like their 40s and stuff, and they're just like, "Oh, boo-hoo, boo freaking hoo." That's what I got for motorsport. The other thing that's happening right now that I wanted to bring up before we move on is the Rugby World Cup. Did you know this was happening?
Yes, because the only reason I know this is because I was getting on
the Google.
Yes, I was getting on Google the other day.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, oh, what is this little design? And I looked at it closely, and I was like, oh, I bet that's rugby. And I clicked on it, and it's like Rugby World Cup has just started. So, because of the little Google Doodle, that's why I know about it.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't have known otherwise.
Really?
But so I figured that since we like to cover. I almost said weird sports, but since we like to cover international sports, I do want to be keeping track of the Rugby World Cup. In fact, I think the next episode I want to do a special segment on it because I don't know how rugby works. It just kind of looks like football.
Yeah, I guess we have not covered rugby, have we?
Yeah, no, we haven't.
Okay.
And so this is kind of perfect opportunity to do that. Do you know how rugby works at all?
No, I've actually always been very confused. I know...
It seems like football, but without any rules.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly. But I mean, I've never really watched a rugby match. I mean, I know there's a lot more. Well, is there? I was gonna say I know there's a lot more kicking in it, but actually, I might not be. Might not be.
I haven't the
right.
slightest idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know much about rugby at all.
For the Rugby World Cup, it's actually airing on NBC Sports. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll actually get to watch that. That's pretty exciting. But so it started on September 20th, and it's going to be going on until the final, which is November 2nd. So we still got a long time. It's going to be on NBC Sports. It's being hosted in Japan this year, and so I want to get into it a little bit more next episode.
Yeah, okay. And I was like, actually, I meant to bring that up to you because, yeah, like you, I had no idea it was going on until Google brought it to my attention. So,
yeah.
But I mean, that's cool. I mean, I think it would be fun to play rugby. I feel like those are more similar to like the like whenever I was younger. We used to play like tackle the man with football. That's like where. Did you ever play that game?
Yeah, it was called something else that's not politically correct. So
It was called Smear the Guy with the Football.
Yeah.
But we would play that with pads, and I was actually a lot better at that than I was at football with pads on. But if I ever see any professional rugby player, they always look just huge. I mean, I guess the NFL players are the same way, but it just sometimes like thinking about playing rugby is more terrifying than the thought of playing football because
like you've seen their helmets. Their helmets are like nothing, you know.
Yeah, they're like the helmets that the NFL wore back in the 20s,
like in the 30s.
Yeah, but you know what? I wonder like how prevalent concussions and head injuries are in rugby because I don't think they use their head as much.
Like that would be a point that we'll definitely look up for the episode. 'Cause
yeah,
I do want to watch watch a game of rugby and kind of learn a little bit about it before we get into the details. Because I'm curious. I genuinely am.
Yeah, and I've always been curious as like how rugby works. So that would be nice, just once in my life, understanding what it's like and. Then I can go watch that movie. What's it called? Icarus or something. There's some rugby movie with Matt Damon in it. I don't know if it's. Maybe it's.
Oh yeah. Shoot, what was that called?
I thought it was called like Icarus or something like that.
No, Invictus is what it was called. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move into the main discussion for today. MLB playoffs are fixing to start October 1st. Which is very soon.
That's right.
So, JP, you were going to cover the American League, right?
Yes, it has been a very long baseball season since the start of spring training back in, I believe, March. They're about to finish up their 162 games this season, which is, I still think it's crazy. That's so many games. Yeah. So, okay, let's get into it. So, we have the playoffs coming up. And I'm going to go over the American League. Nick's going to go on to the American League. So, in the AL East, the Yankees have clinched they won. They won the division. They've already clinched it. So, they had 102 wins and 55 losses, which, if you don't know, that's really good. If you reach 100 wins, you've had a pretty good year.
Okay, so that's like not a close call at all. Like they definitely like had it for most of the season.
Second place in the American League East are the Rays, and they're one of the teams in the wild card hunt. But okay. within the division, they're 9.5 games behind the Yankees.
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, Yankees won that pretty handily.
So real quick, the Red Sox are there.
Oh yes, and I meant to say that. Yeah, so the Red Sox are eliminated from playoffs. So. Which is crazy because they won the World Series last year.
Yeah, because I remember as a person who doesn't or who hasn't really kept up with baseball much, that's the one like storyline that snuck over to me is that the Red Sox just were a complete tragedy this season. You know.
Yeah, and I forget how they were predicted to do. I mean, I think that they were predicted to do pretty well. I think they pretty much had the same team. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, they ended up with a record of 81-74. They're 20 games behind the Yankees. So they're eliminated. Which, it's always fun to see the Red Sox in the playoffs because it just makes the playoffs more interesting. But Anyway, yeah, Yankees were definitely the dominant team in that division. Okay, so then we have the AL Central. The Twins, they have not yet clinched the division win, but they most likely will. Right now, they're 4 games ahead of the Indians. So I think if they win like 3 more games or something like that, then they'll end up winning.
Do you know how many games are left?
4 or 5 games left.
Okay, so really, the Twins got to screw up big time. They got to lose like pretty much the rest of the games. And
Right,
Indians have
right.
to win the rest of the games, basically, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So,
still, that's pretty interesting. That's kind of exciting.
yeah. So, but the Indians are second place. They're 4 games back, and they're also in the wild card race with the Rays.
Okay. And now, so the wild card, right? I think I understand this. Let me take a crack at it.
Mm-hmm.
So wild card is where. So is there a wild card team per league? Right? Is that correct?
Yes, there'll be one wild card game per league.
Oh, one. So, and what it is they take the teams with the best record that did not qualify for playoffs, right? Or
Right,
did not,
right.
Did not
Just
automatically qualify for playoffs.
just like with hockey. I can't remember if basketball is the same way,
Mhm.
but I remember hockey. We talked about that.
Gotcha. Because you got the Rays and the Indians,
And then the Rays, the Indians, who are tied, by the way. So they both have a record of 92 and 64.
nice. Okay.
And then we have the Athletics in the AL West. So they're at 94 and 62. So right now it's looking like the Athletics will be
We'll get
one of the
one
wild
spot.
card teams. So it's really between the Rays and the Indians.
So I guess it must be like a stressful time to be a Indians fan right now. Since,
Oh,
like,
yeah, or
there's
Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially because the Indians, right? They do technically still have a shot at beating the Twins, like and taking their playoff spot. But then at the same
Right.
time, they're also potentially eligible for a wild card team. So
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting for them.
Yeah, and the likelihood of the Indians overtaking the Twins is pretty low.
Right.
But it could still happen. It's like with the Indians to win, the Twins I think probably would have to lose out, and the Indians would have to win out. So.
Gotcha. So yeah, not very likely.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the AL West.
So the AL West, we have the Astros who clinched the division. They clinched last week. They have the top record in baseball. They've got 102 wins, 54 losses. So,
As opposed to the Yankees have 102 wins and 55 losses. Is that just because did they play an extra game that the Astros haven't played yet?
Yeah, so I guess they're kind of neck and neck. I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of unfair to say that the Yankees have the best, or the Astros have the best record because they have played 1 game less than the
Right.
Yankees. But nevertheless, Astros are the top team in the AL West, and my beloved Rangers, they didn't do too bad considering the team that they have. The Rangers got 3rd place. They were eliminated.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How was it, Chapter 2?
It's pretty good. I think I liked the first chapter a little bit more, but it was good. For the most part, relatively true to the book, but I had a few issues, but overall, it was nice. I enjoyed it. Fun time. Long movie.
Chantel and I saw the Downton Abbey movie this weekend. That was pretty good.
Yeah, well, enough movie talk, man. Let's talk some baseball.
That's right. Let's do it. Okay, so Nick, we just finished talking about the American League. So tell us about the National League. What's going on over there?
Well, it's not as crazy right now as the American League. I know there's some more tight races in the American League. National League, for the most part, is pretty much set. The Atlanta Braves in the National League East Division have already clinched the division, so they're going to the playoffs. The National League West is already the Dodgers. They've won that division, so they're headed that way to the playoffs. The only division that's still kind of in limbo is between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Central. I think the Brewers are a few games behind St. Louis, and the Cardinals, though, have actually already clinched a playoff spot. So if they play terrible for the rest of the season, then worst case scenario, they'll be a wild card team.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the other team is so like I said, either St. Louis Cardinals or Milwaukee Brewers are going to win the NL Central, but it's looking like it'll be St. Louis. And then you have in the teams in the running for the wild card, you have Brewers, and then the Nationals, and they're kind of the top two teams for the wild card spots. And then you have the Cubs and Mets, who are a few games back, but I mean, something crazy could happen. They could jump in, but it's not looking like they're going to make it.
Yeah, because if there's only like 4 or 5 games left in the season, then some kind of miracle has to happen.
Right. I mean, the Brewers basically have to lose every game, I think, and the Cubs or Mets have to win out. Brewers and Nationals have to lose a lot. And I mean, it's possible. Stranger things have happened, man.
Miracles happen in baseball. I've seen angels in the outfield.
Yeah. I mean, miracles happen everywhere. Have you seen that movie, Miracle?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. That's a great movie.
Yeah. Have you seen that Insane Clown Posse video, Miracles?
You know, I have, and I wish I hadn't.
That's moving. That's life changing.
It is.
Yeah, it makes you think.
Yeah, and it makes you think magnets. How do they work?
But I also want to talk about some of the top players in the National League, how they've been doing. One of the best players in baseball is Christian Yelich. He plays for the Brewers. He actually has been out for a little while. He was injured, but this year he was hitting .329, which is pretty dang good. Christian Yelich and Ketel Marte both hit .329, but they didn't finish the year due to injury. Some other notable guys with high batting averages: Anthony Rendon with the Nationals, he hit .325. Then you had Brian Reynolds, who I believe is a rookie, hit .318 with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then you have Charlie Blackmon, who's on my fantasy baseball team. He hit .317 with the Rockies. Some home run leaders, you had Pete Alonso with the Mets, who's a rookie, and he hit 50 home runs at the time of this recording. So that's a lot. Overall, home runs have been high this year. And Eugenio Suarez hit 48, with the Reds, and Cody Bellinger hit 46 with the Dodgers. And even though, like I mentioned, Christian Yelich has been out for a little while, he still managed to hit 44 home runs. So that's impressive. I mean, he put on a great year. And then some top pitchers just to throw out there. This year, Hyun-Jin Ryu with the Dodgers had a 2.41 ERA. Then you had Jacob deGrom with the Mets, who had a 2.51 ERA. But, yeah, I mean, you can look up the stats. I don't need to get on to all the top players, but those are some big names for some players that had some big years.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited for baseball playoffs, to be honest.
Yeah, baseball. Oh man, I love baseball playoffs.
They're fun,
especially if your team is in it. But that's okay.
Well, and now that I know, I think I'm going to start following the Cardinals and Brewers and see how that stuff goes. And then also, I guess in the American League, keep an eye on the Indians and see how they do with getting the wild card spots. So it's like now that you know what to look for, or now that I know what to look for, I can be a little bit more engaged than I have been.
Oh yeah, and this is a great time to watch it because, it's like the end's in sight for a lot of these teams. Like they know that they're about to either make the playoffs and then just gearing up for that. So it's pretty fun and exciting. But this was a pretty monumental year, 2019. It set the record for most home runs hit in a season. Overall, I don't remember the exact number. I should have written this down, but I was looking at the numbers of home runs hit, and it's just been increasing. And this year was obviously the most, so they hit a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing though with that is that the baseballs might be different.
That's what Justin Verlander says, right?
Yeah, but that's just because he's giving up a lot of home runs. That's what's kind of like in the
back of my mind. Like if I haven't heard anything about baseballs being different, then it would be more like exciting to me, but. I feel like there have been so many players coming out saying that the baseballs have been tampered with, and a lot of well-known, well-respected pitchers out there like Justin Verlander, and I don't know, but recently, especially in the playoffs, in the past few years, it seems like there have been just a major increase in homers.
Oh yeah, I remember the Dodgers-Astros World Series, and it seemed like every game had at least 8 home runs. It was insane. Yeah. It was very entertaining. I mean, it made for great baseball.
And like, it's understandable why they would do that, to make things more exciting. And I mean, everybody loves like seeing a home run hit, especially if you're at the game. But yeah, I mean, you just don't know like if like players are just better now, or like if the ball has kind of been tampered with a little bit.
I'm sure it's.
And I know.
Maybe pitchers are worse.
Yeah, maybe, but that doesn't make any sense because, you know, athletes in general are like stronger, and they're throwing harder. They've got more, you know. I'm sure they've can put more spin on the ball. I mean, the same thing's true for the hitters, though. I mean, they're stronger too.
Speaking of home runs, Dietz, did you know that in order to hit a cycle, you have to hit a home run?
What does that mean?
The cycle is when you hit a single, double, triple, and a home run in one game.
Oh wow.
It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool stat, and there's actually been 6 cycles hit this year. Shohei Ohtani, Kevin Biggio, Jake Bowers, Trey Turner, Jonathan Villar, and Jorge Polanco all hit cycles this year. I mean, that seems like a lot in one year. I don't know the average, but that seems more than normal. But it's a pretty cool thing. And also, there's been a total of 4 no-hitters. Mike Fiers for Oakland actually threw a second career no-hitter this season. And Justin Verlander hit one earlier in September. But there was also 2 combined no-hitters. There was one with the Angels. They had Taylor Cole and Felix Pena. They combined to throw a no-hitter. And then the Astros also threw a combined no-hitter, where Aaron Sanchez went 6 innings strong, followed up by Will Harris, Joe Biagini, and Chris Devimpinski or something like that. Anyways, a team no-hitter is very impressive.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, 4 total no-hitters this year. And, yeah, just kind of some fun facts for the season. It's been pretty fun to keep up with.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, y'all, for talking about baseball, getting us ready for playoffs. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit out of order now since Nick has finally graced us with his presence.
Yes.
You got a new segment for us, I believe, that we are calling Tony Bologna.
Tony Bologna! All right. If you guys didn't know, this segment is about Antonio Brown. We've talked about him for the past few episodes and just his saga and how it's been just crazy. But we got some more news on him. So this past Friday, which was September 20th, the Patriots finally released Antonio Brown after all those accusations came up.
By released, you mean fired, right?
Pretty much, yeah. He's no longer a member of the New England Patriots. Then on Saturday, his agent put out a statement saying that some teams have reached out and are interested in signing Antonio Brown. Then on Sunday, Antonio Brown tweeted that he will no longer play in the NFL.
My jeez.
Then he went on to call out Patriots owner Robert Kraft whenever he had his little massage parlor sex scandal thing, and also pointed out and tweeted that Shannon Sharp, who's a TV personality, former NFL player, was accused of sexual assault, and basically said, hey, he was accused of sexual assault, but he's still on the air. You're accusing all these guys, and you're blaming me, but, hey, they're still doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he pointed the finger at his old quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, and said that, he was accused of sexual assault, and he was only suspended 4 games. And basically he's saying just how the NFL is crazy. And so, he's kind of got a point, but I don't know, the whole situation is just kind of weird.
So this is the types of stuff that drives me insane when my students do it. Like, the fact that someone else did something and got away with it does not make it okay for you to get away with something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And, he's just pointing out other examples, but still, the whole thing has just been a media frenzy, and it's been, I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of fun to watch and keep up with because something else just constantly happens and just makes headlines. It's been wild.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes this happens with people. Think about like Charlie Sheen. Remember back when it was just one thing after another. Like he was kind of manic. He was bipolar.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Antonio Brown is as bad as Charlie Sheen was.
but I still think he has. Some personality issue or like some mental issue I don't know if it's like,
or he could be just going. He could be just going through a personal crisis, like a
that, or
Yeah,
I mean, some
like-
people have been saying that maybe it's due to concussions because he's been hit hard several times, and maybe something rattled in his head that kind of, I don't know, did something to his personality. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate because I don't have enough knowledge on the matter. But
Well, you're not a neurosurgeon, Nick.
No, I'm not. That's not my day job. But I'm just a podcast host. Just happy to be here and watch it, Chapter 2.
Well,
just living life.
So will this be the last time we see Antonio Brown playing football? Is he going to go play for the XFL or something like that? What do y'all think?
I don't know, because he did just say this is a lot. He's not going to play in the NFL anymore. I mean, still he could play in the Canadian Football League or XFL, and there's still the Arena Football League. They still have games. So I mean, if he wanted to, he could still play football. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like I wouldn't be surprised either way if he plays again or not. Because he said before he was traded to the Raiders, he said, I don't have to play football. I'm a millionaire. I've made my money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. But I think if you play the game that long, you obviously have a passion for the game, which I think he has. And so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody takes a shot on him and he says, you know what, fine, whatever, I'll give this a go. So I wouldn't be surprised either way, which I know is a terrible on the fence answer, but yeah, that's my hot take on it.
All right. Well, thanks, Nick, for the Tony Bologna segments. I look forward to next week. Okay, so next thing we gotta talk about some college football. We all watched the Notre Dame versus Georgia game. Go ahead, y'all. What did y'all think of this?
Man, I thought it was good. I was pulling for Notre Dame because I'm an Irish Catholic, and so I was just going for my people, and also because Georgia was, they're the Irish, the Fighting Irish, they're the underdog. Anyway, what I really wanted was a good game, and that's what it was.
I thought it was pretty good, and I just want to say, JP, I think if we don't do a St. Patrick's Day episode where you talk like an Irishman, like for the entire episode, I think we've done our listener base a big disservice.
Wade love to do that. Wade, I'd love it so much.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. That's perfect, man.
It's my dream. It's my dream to do that.
But yeah, I thought the game, I actually, when I turned it on, it was right at the end of the first half, so I just watched the second half. And the first half, that's where Notre Dame had a drive that, as time expired, they kicked the field goal to take the lead 10-7 at the half. But overall, I mean, it was pretty interesting. Georgia, their defense looked insane. They just devoured Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame had 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the second half, which isn't good. And Georgia, their defense was flying all over. Their offense started getting a rhythm with DeAndre Swift, the running back. He made some really nice plays, and the offensive line for Georgia really started making some holes for him to run through. And Georgia went up. What was it, 23-10 or 23-13 at one point. And late in the game, Notre Dame said, "Okay, we gotta quit screwing around." And so they kind of put it in high gear, and they had an impressive drive, scored, make it 23-17. And then they got the ball back with 2 minutes left, and they were moving down the field a little bit, but ultimately couldn't convert in 4th and 9, and Georgia won. But I thought it was pretty entertaining. I was really impressed with Georgia's defense, just because they were just all over the place, just taking. Notre Dame's offense couldn't move until they really had their backs up against the wall and had to score in order to stay in the game.
Yeah. In the first half, I was listening to the commentators, and it sounded like Notre Dame was the faster, more physical team, but I think Georgia over the duration of the game just wore Notre Dame out. And golly, from Georgia's quarterback, he's good. He's really good. Like he's clutch, and I think he'll definitely see him in the NFL. He just seems like an NFL quarterback. Like he's
he did, and he made some great throws in the second half. I saw his first half numbers. He was 11 for 22, 11 completions for 12 attempts, only for like 59 yards. Which you make 11 throws, you would think he had more than 59 yards, but he really came out in the second half and started throwing it much better. And I was impressed with Georgia's performance in that game. Dietz, what did you think?
I thought it was fun. I was going for Georgia because I liked their uniforms better.
It's better in the fight. It's better in the fighting Irish.
But yeah, I enjoyed watching it. I think that my favorite moment was whenever the Notre Dame was in the first quarter, where the Notre Dame quarterback. What do you call it when they snap the ball to you and you don't catch it? You mess it up.
Like a fumble?
A fumble, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and so he misses the snap or whatever, but then he still manages to pick the ball up and throw it, and it's almost a first down completion also. So it was like a really cool almost recovery from the Notre Dame quarterback. That was pretty neat to see. But yeah, overall, I thought it was fun. It's a college football game,
I mean, yeah, college football is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, more fun than NFL.
Well, I mean, hey, on a different note, speaking of NFL, it looks like I'm not going to win my fantasy football matchup this week.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah, just checking the score, and I am mad. Razor's Reckoning, the team I'm playing against, his defense, the Chicago defense, has 19 points. How does the defense get 19 points in fantasy football?
That's good, insane. Man. They're good.
That's one of the things. Anything can happen, and it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah. But I guess we'll dig into that more. If you guys, listeners, you tune into our weekly bonus episodes about the Fantasy Football League, you can get more of that.
Speaking of fantasy sports, I just want to say, I think we should give a quick update on the final standings of fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
After a great season, I finished in third place, but that's okay. I still got some money out of it. Dietz, you finished 5th, which is respectable. And
Dietz, you loser.
And JP, by some miracle, by some grace of God, you finished in 8th place. After being in last place all season, somehow the fantasy baseball gods smiled upon thee and said, "You know what, James Paul Cochran, you Irish son of a gun, here is 8th place." And you got it, man. You did it. You did that. That was all you.
I said, "Dear Lord, I'm a fighting Irish. Please let me just get to 8th place."
I mean, it's weird though that Nick, you were in first place for the whole season, and then you end up in 3rd for playoffs, and then JP was last the whole season, ended up in 8th. It's like y'all balanced each other out a little bit, And I'm right in the middle.
I won it all last year. I thought, I don't need to get first again. I don't want JP to have his first year being in the last place. So I made a sacrifice.
I appreciate it,
you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Such a saint, Nick.
That's what they call me on the street.
Saint Nick.
Okay, so I guess, is there anything else that we need to talk about for this show before we get on out of here?
I guess if we just want to talk about next week's game recap.
Yeah, sure.
I was thinking of doing, we got 2 choices, guys. We can decide on the air what we want to do. We got college. We got 21 USC taking on number 17 Washington, or Sunday Night Football Cowboys and Saints.
Cowboys, baby.
Let's watch them boys, because I'll definitely watch that game.
So you know what? We've only watched one NFL game. I think we're due for another NFL game. So
yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right, guys. So listeners out there, next week game recap: Cowboys, Saints. Mark it down. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, yeah. So Nick, you actually missed our main topic next week. It's gonna be rugby. Rugby World Cup. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. Because did you know that the Rugby World Cup is happening?
You know what? As a matter of fact, I had no idea that was a thing.
No, I guess you didn't get on Google.
Yeah.
I did not get on Google.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, listeners, thank you so much for listening to What is Sports. Tune in next week for our game recap of the Cowboys and Saints NFL game and the Rugby World Cup. Now, if you enjoyed what you heard, subscribe to our show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, if you haven't already. And also leave us a rating and review if you enjoyed what you heard. Also, check out our sister show, What is Nerd? And finally, if you have any questions or comments, send us an email at wisportscast@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm Tyler Dietz. With me is Nick Grant and JP. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.